Well, today I'm out on a walk as a request to one of my lovely viewers. I had an email actually only the other day saying, is there any chance, Richard, you could go and have a look at Old Hamsey Church? And I thought, hang on a minute, that rings a bell. I'm sure I've been there. Then I realised I'd done a walk to Hamsey, which is just north of Lewes in East Sussex, and I'd taken a walk to a different church, in 2019. And I thought, this would be great to go back and have a look at the church because it's in a remote place. Did a little bit of research on it, and I realised that it was pretty much abandoned in the Victorian period, and a new church was built in Oldham, just down the road, where much of the community over the years had gravitated to, I guess, because of the main road. So I'm starting my walk here at, I believe it's St. Peter's at Oldham, but the original St. Peter's is at Old Hamsey. And I'm going to try and follow a little walk which will take me, not directly there, but along the river here, which must be part of the Lewes, I think, up towards it. So we will leave this Victorian church, which looks very lovely and splendid and big and large, and go and have a look at this medieval church. Come on. This is going to be an interesting walk, I think. I've not done this before. I don't know this area terribly well. The ground is a little wet. We've had quite a bit of rain. I'm filming in October, towards the end of October, yet it's very mild. Unusually mild, really. I quite like that. Because where I'm starting at Oldham, at least I think it's pronounced Oldham, it could be Oldham, it looks like Oldham, I think it's Oldham. Every time whichever way I say it, somebody corrects me, so I'm going to go with Oldham for the moment. But anyway, the point I was trying to get to is where I've started at Oldham is just at the bottom of a very large hill, actually, that overlooks Lewes. I made a video there some time ago about the Battle of Lewes, in which Simon de Montfort and his gang gathered up the top there and then had a battle with the king. And I'm just trying to remember when it was. Was it 13 something or other? I can't quite remember. But from the top there, and even from here, you get a good vantage looking down at the plains just to the north of Lewes, and on the River Ouse, I suppose the valley of the Ouse, and then the hills on the other side, of which the south side you get Mount Caburn. But it's all very lovely, and the sun is actually coming out. Good morning.
Morning.
There's a gentleman on a bike having a nice cycle ride. You can't actually see the views at the moment from here because they're blocked by all these rather lovely trees. It's great when the sun shines through the leaves. It just looks rather spectacular. Just going through a bit of a boggy patch here. Now I'm on a route here so far on the footpath. It's heading towards Lewes, back down southwards, but there's going to be a path in a minute that'll take me eastwards in a sort of direct route towards Old Hamsey Church. And the thing is, you've got to cross all these streams. Now along here at one point was a chalk railway, as far as I'm aware, which goes up to what used to be, I think, the old now I'm going to get this wrong, I'll have to look it up, the Chalk Pub or the Chalk View Pub or something like that. I'd been down the tunnels there on the little funicular railway that used to take the chalk up to the main road where it could be, from the chalk face, from the quarry, or the Chalk Pit, I think that's what it's called, Chalk Pit pub, that's since been sold a few times. And used to take the chalk from the quarry face down this funicular railway and then across to the Ouse River. And now, good news is that Dumpman is going to join me and tell me all about this unique railway. So very much looking forward to that. I think I've come to the turning that I'm looking for. You can just now see, as I make my way away from the hill, I think it's called Offham Hill or Opham Hill, you can see the chalk pit there behind me, and maybe that building, I'm not quite sure if that's the roof of the pub, I'm not 100% sure, but it's very flat, and I'm getting into the flat area now, which is interesting, and we're coming up to the railway, and I suppose that's one of the things that the chalk was doing, and we'll find out with lovely Dumpman exactly what the quarrymen were doing with the chalk, whether they were taking it onto the Ouse and taking it down to Newhaven, I suppose, or whether they were also loading it onto the railway to either go up to London for journeys. But it's just here in front of me. We cross this, and I think it's about a mile and a bit from the other church, the church to church walk, so not too far. I'm out of breath, don't know why that is, because I'm actually quite fit, but I'm very warm. It's incredibly mild at the moment. I've only got a shirt, a jumper and my jacket, which I thought would be more than sufficient. Well, it turns out that it's extremely sufficient, but anyway, let's crack on. Aha! And there in the distance I can see Old Hamsey Church. So I'm just going to consult the map to see how we get there, because we've got to cross over the river, which I think the River Ouse is right just in front of me. Whew. I may have to lose my jumper as well, because it's so warm. It's unbelievable. The weather is like inclement and looks like it's going to rain any second, but it's so warm. Well, the next part of the journey is just following the river. I've checked the map along the bank here, which now obscures part of the river. I think the main river has just turned actually and gone further east, and I'm following a tributary or a little channel. Actually, I think I'm walking in the most awkward place. There's another footpath down on the side, but I'm just on the flood bank here, and then that will take us up towards the church. Basically, there's a few houses there. I don't know if it's the Hamsey Manor or something, and I think up ahead I've got an object from the Second World War to explore, so we'll have a look at that. On the other side, if I just turn the camera around, hang on a second, it's a bit wibbly wobbly here, you can see just how open and flat it all is. Yeah, a pillbox guarding the waterways during the Second World War. I'm not going to go in this one. It looks wet and muddy on the inside, but fascinating to see. There's another one just up ahead actually, I wonder if that's the one that's by the road, which should be by the houses, which takes me round to the church. So we're going to leave the pillbox here, but fascinating to see nonetheless. And we're getting closer to the destination. It's getting warm now. So mild, I can't get over it. It's interesting, I'm just climbing up a hill. I've gone through these rather beautiful buildings with the great barn there. That was impressive. And further back I did go past the other pillbox. Sorry, brain, not enough oxygen into the bald explorer's head. And we're going up onto a hill here, and I'm going to expect that this is where the church is, because that's what they did, is they built churches high up on a hill. Obviously in a floodplain they weren't completely barking. They didn't want the church to disappear underwater, as you can naturally expect. But we get a good southern view down to, well, a little bit of towards Lewes, and now the church. Well, it's locked. It's blooming well locked. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. I've just been speaking to a very nice gentleman who was saying it's open at weekends. I looked on the sign even to see if, I just need to get out of the wind a little bit. I looked on the sign to see if you could pick up the key from a little house or the church warden, but apparently the vicarage is right back at Offham, and this gentleman said it's called Offham because it's off ham, the ham at Hamsey, you see. On the buttress here of the tower, on the west tower, there's some holes in the wall that go right the way through, brick missing. And I just spoke to the gentleman who came up here on his bicycle and told me about the key, and he said, yeah, that's the deliberate. The idea is that there's one on the other side as well, on both buttresses, I think at both ends of the church actually. The idea is that it's for the devil. The devil tries to get into the church and he goes through that hole and out the other side and is somewhat thwarted. A bit like me, thwarted that I can't go in the church. I'm really, really disappointed. I wanted to show that. I'll have to come back another day and go in on a Saturday and Sunday perhaps. A quiet one when there's not too many people about. Can't get through the north door. Can't even see through the windows, unfortunately. They've all been barred up, so it's obviously quite vulnerable, this church. I mean, it is on its own little island, this little hillock here overlooking the Ouse Valley. And the reason it's all on its own is, of course, that the village, as I mentioned, I think at the beginning, is that the community that was here, it was mentioned in the Domesday Book, I believe. It's a Norman church. The main nave is about 12th century. The chancel now is, I think, 14th century, and the porch at the front is 15th century. And this is a very cute little door that's sort of bricked up here. Quite a low door with what looks like here, if I just come in, some graffiti, which is always fascinating. But it seems the community moved, and the Victorians then who built the other St. Peter's Church were going to come back and demolish this. But fortunately they didn't. And so this is a prime example of a medieval church. And I'd love to show you inside. But it's bloody locked. It has been lovingly restored ever since. You can see that there's a new render on here at the moment, but unfortunately I can't go in, so I apologise for that. I was very much excited to do so. But anyway, from Old Hamsey Church, here at the porch, nobody in. Thank you very much, at least letting me get to this point. Lots and lots of graffiti marks on this wall, look at that. But anyway, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope to my viewer who asked me to come here, they're not too disappointed. I will come back on another day and have a look, but that's it. Don't forget to follow, like and subscribe, become a patron, support what I do. Diesel's gone up in price, so it really helps if you can make a small donation. And I'll be out and about on another walk very soon. Till then, bye-bye, bye-bye.